We will never catch up with white America till we get into business, because there's a thing called tax write-offs. And if you have a job and come together, 10 of you, and open up a corporation and have somebody run it, you hiring somebody to run it, but you have tax write-offs. 98% of people that fly first class on airplanes would not be there if that wasn't a write-off.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Black Excellence Daily. I'm your host, Sean Croxton. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got the late, the great activist, comedian, health advocate, Dick Gregory on the show today. He's going to cover several topics. The one that I want to highlight, however, is when he's talking about opening up a corporation for the tax write-offs. Most people don't realize that you can write off a bunch of stuff. If you have your own corporations, you can write off your taxes. So, for example, I have my home. This is my office that I'm recording in. The percentage of my home that I use for my office, I can write that off on my taxes. It saves me quite a bit of money, which is phenomenal. I can write off meals that involve business. I can write off books, seminars, courses, travel, as long as they have to do with what I do for a living. But if you are like a sole proprietor or you work for somebody else, you can't do that. And so you want to open up your own corporation or maybe an LLC, but you got to talk to an attorney and make sure what's right for you. Now, he does say something that I do not agree with, and that's to get 10 of your friends and open up a corporation. When I posted this on Instagram a couple of years ago, I think the most frequent comment I got was like, I don't know 9 other people who are going to want to start a corporation with me. Here's the thing about opening up a business. Partnerships usually don't work. It's hard enough to go into business with one other person, let alone 9 other people. And so if you can't find anybody else who's on the same page as you to open up a business with, do it yourself, right? Do it yourself and then make it successful. And then you'll start to see other people are going to want to be involved. But if you're looking for people to want to be involved in the very beginning, you're very likely not going to start the business in the first place. So get started on your own. Dick Gregory's coming up.
And so I would say to young folks, don't be in a state of denial of the racism and sexism, but don't let that block you. Don't teach your children that you have to be twice as good as a white. That's an awful thing to teach your child. Mm-hmm. That's like saying because you're black, white America has a right to change your dollar for 94 cents. But we used to get 50 cents, and before that we used to get nothing. Young folks have to say, we don't want more change for $1. Excuse me, we want a full dollar's change for $1, or this cash register will never ring again.
Yes.
I would also like for young blacks to understand that about 83% of all employment happen with small businesses. And excuse me, if you don't have a small business, then you have nobody to work for you. And I would say to young blacks, get into entrepreneurship. We will never catch up with white America till we get into business, because there's a thing called tax write-offs. And if you have a job and come together, 10 of you, and open up a corporation and have somebody run it, you hiring somebody to run it, but you have tax write-offs. 98% of people that fly first class on airplanes would not be there if that wasn't a write-off. And yet, on that first class, they gave away last year $800 million, almost $1 billion of free whiskey. But if a welfare mother asked for some apple juice for the baby, she's laughed at. And so I would say entrepreneurship, and then understand that we will never survive as a group until we get into communities and not neighborhoods. A community is, I control the police, the banks, the schools, the firefighters, and I control the flow of the money. And I have no problem when I go in a Jewish neighborhood and the shop owners are Jewish, and I go into an Italian neighborhood and shop owners are Italian. I have a problem when I come in a black neighborhood and the shop owners is not me. A Korean has a right to come in and buy my shop for $30 million more than it's worth. That's good business. But if we decide that we're not going to do business with that one, then he'll have to sell it back, or she'll sell it back to a black person for $1 million. Yes. And then the money circulates, and that's how you change. We've been so busy dealing with the hurt and the pain and the misery and glamorizing a handful that have made it, that we have never really looked at, like they say, your role model. If you haven't got a role model in your house, you should fall on your knees and pray to God, because something is wrong.
Yes.
And so I would say to young folks, it's not about alcohol, but it's hard for me to say that to you when a 5-year-old got to reach past mama's beer and papa's wine to get some mayonnaise. I would also say to young folks that the number one drug that will wipe you out is not cocaine, it's not heroin, it's marijuana. And they deliberately make that a recreation drug, but it stays in the muscles, it stays in the blood, and it will wipe out your memory bank. And also, this is the first time in the history of TB that TB has always been known as poor folks. It's the first time that TB is not running rampant in the ghetto. It's running rampant in middle-income white America, because it's the marijuana that they spray, and that's no accident. And so I would just say to young folks, you have to reevaluate everything you've been taught. I would say to the black folks that just because a black person is 90 years old don't mean they have wisdom, and you need to listen to them, because if you was dumb and stupid when you was 9, you dumb and stupid when you 90.
That was Dick Gregory. You can check out today's talk on YouTube. It is called Dick Gregory, Advice to Young African Americans. Hey, follow me on Instagram at Sean Croxton. We've got reels that coincide every day with our BXD talks. Also, please leave a rating and or review for the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And tune in tomorrow. We've got Dr. Miles Monroe on the show. He's going to give you the best kept secrets of success. I'll see you then. Peace.